Hey, greetings, Dan Palmer here. Yes, so the book is underway. I actually started the first draft of it maybe a year back, but 2 weeks ago I opened a fresh file because so much of the older content and the layout was redundant. It'd be sort of rendered obsolete by developments in the last year or two, and it's been exciting. It's flowing. It's great for me to realise there's so much clarity that's ready to flow onto the page, and this is the first of potentially a series of video updates where I thought, well, it'd be good to do an experiment in sharing a little bit about the process of writing the book, so it doesn't just sort of pop into the universe as a finished thing. That there's access for anyone who may be interested to a few insights about the process. So what I've been doing today, I thought I would share, is following up, rereading some stuff I've read before, and I'm putting most of my effort at this stage into the earlier phases of the book, where it's setting up the theoretical framework or the way of looking at things, the way of approaching the questions around design and creation, and key concepts like wholes and parts. What are they? What's the relationship between them? So today I've been reading some more, rereading Henry Bortoft's the first chapter of his book, The Wholeness of Nature, where he's been inspired by Goethe's approach to natural science. And he's got some incredibly profound ways of articulating problems with how we usually think about wholes and parts, where it's usually one way or the other, like the whole idea of reductionism, atomism, etc., is that we start with parts and we try and get back to the whole by joining parts together. So the parts come first, the whole comes second. And then sometimes in a lot of different disciplines, in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different eras, there's been a backlash to that, which you could call that first approach, moving from parts to wholes, partism, which I just made up, and holism has been offered as a sort of antidote or healing selves. But Bortoft points out that it's really not that different, in that you're still separating the whole and part, and in the holistic approach you start with the whole, so the whole comes first and you move down to the parts. But what he manages to get across is that in either approach you're kind of bastardizing, or you're inadvertently turning both whole into part. You're making them inauthentic, in the sense that you can't separate them, and they sink and rise together, so that you can't understand what a whole is or wholeness. The only place you can get closer to the whole, to the reality of the whole, and learn about the whole landscape or person or whatever it is through the parts. And so the wholeness of a thing, let's say a landscape, it reveals itself to you through the parts. But that's not to say that the parts come first and the whole comes second, because the parts, it doesn't even make any sense to call them parts if you mean real, authentic parts, minus the presence of the whole. And so the two things coexist and co-inform each other and emerge in this iterative kind of folding back on each other, something like that. It might sound a bit obscure and weird, but I'm finding it really practical, and I really want to go to great pains in the book to make it clear, to get the language right, and to give really clear examples of why this matters so much. And I've been accumulating a few over the last while, including a great story from Tom Brown, the renowned tracker, about what he could see in the footprint of a fox and whatnot. So that's underway, and as part of that, this idea of the whole on the part whole, I came back to that, and I'd never actually gone back to the original source of that word, holon, which is Arthur Koestler's book. I think it was 1969, but anyway, it's called The Ghost in the Machine. And so I've been delving into that, reading it for the first time, and it's great. It's always lovely to see a powerful concept like that presented by the originator in their own language. So I'm soaking that up and taking quotes and all that. making notes and looking forward to bringing all the stuff into the book, where the challenge is going to be making it crisp and fresh and accessible without losing the depth, the profundity of a lot of this stuff, and keeping it plugged in or never far from practical, real, graspable examples. Luckily, I'm a permaculture designer, so I've got a lot of projects on the go and a lot of examples up my sleeve. And I've also been enjoying just getting outside and engaging with plants and animals and in different settings, and consciously using the tools I'm articulating in the book, and finding out more about them as I go. So that's number one. And early days, I think it's like less than 25 pages at this stage, but it's flowing and it's happening, and I intend to have a coherent first draft of the manuscript to start sharing with friends and whatnot by August, so 2.5 months from now. So it's something I'm prioritising and hoping to spend time on pretty much every day. Okay, over and out. Catch you later.